fight for freedom wherever there's trouble. G.I. Joe is there. G.I. Joe, American hero. G.I. Joe is there. It's G.I. Joe against Cobra, the enemy, fighting to save the day. He never gives up. He's always there, fighting for freedom over land and air. G.I. Joe, American hero. G.I. Joe is there.
G.I. Joe is the code name for America's daring, highly trained Special Mission Force. Its purpose, to defend human freedom against Cobra, a ruthless terrorist organization determined to rule the world.
He never gives up, he'll stay till the fight's won. G.I. Joe will dare. G.I. Joe, G.I. Joe.
What's up, guys? Jason up at the New 80s Revolution. Down here in the cave for episode 1 of collecting is half the battle. You see that? Collecting. That's right, guys. This is the first episode of me tackling one of the biggest, deepest action figure toy line collections in the world of all time. The G.I. Joe action figure line. Wow, this is going to take me so long and so much money to fill in this area, but I am inviting all of you along for the journey. That's right. You are going to be there with me as I fill in this area, as I fill in that area over there that you can't see right now. I'm going to bring you along with a guy who is starting a G.I. Joe collection from scratch. We're going to hit up toy shows together with one purpose only, and that's to find G.I. Joe. We're going to hit up conventions, cons together, and a lot of these cons that I go to, the vendors sell a lot of retro toys. And before, when I would go to these toy shows and conventions, I would be on the lookout for lots of different things. But this room is closing in on me. And so as we go out now, going forward into the future, as we go out now, we're pretty much going to be looking for G.I. Joe only. So that is going to be my main objective going forward in the collecting world, G.I. Joe only. I've pretty much dedicated the next year or two to filling in this collection, and I know it's a huge undertaking. I understand that. I get it. But I'm bringing you guys along with me as I begin to complete, the best of my ability, a G.I. Joe collection. Now, how deep are we going to get? Well, we're going to get into that as the episodes progress, but I can tell you right now that I will most likely collect from 1982 to 1989. Shut up, phone. I'm probably going to collect from 1982 to 1989. The series, the line, officially went until 1994, with obviously some re-releases and some nostalgia releases and some retro releases. But I'm not going to get into that stuff, and I'm really pretty solid on stopping at 1989. The G.I. Joes from 1990 to 1994 are a little bit hokey. They're a little too colorful. We got a lot of bright colors and neons and tiger stripes, and I don't know, when I look ahead, it just doesn't interest me all that much. Plus, my main era of G.I. Joe, my main from childhood was 82 to 89. Now, when we talk about the 82 line, right now, as I stand now, 82, we're just going to be getting the vehicles from 82. The first series of figures from 1982 were re-released in 1983 with different arms. So 1982, the first 8 or 9 figures that were released were straight arm figures, and in 1983 they changed that. They changed that arm style. And so they re-released those first few figures with that different arm style. So right now, probably to end the collection, to cap off the collection, I might get all of the original 1982 straight arm figures. But for now, we're going to be starting with the vehicles in 1982 and the figures in 1983. And like I said, we're probably going to stop at 1989. Now, this first episode is going to be a little bit, just some background, just some, why am I doing this? I wanted to really show you where we were at right now. And, this is very like bare bones right here for me. So I wanted to come on and show you guys some footage of kind of the before, and then hopefully as this series of episodes progresses, this will change a lot. This is going to morph into more of a G.I. Joe universe. All of my other collections around this room are filled in and really displayed nicely. And this is just the bare bones beginning of what my G.I. Joe collection is going to look like. And so I wanted to come on here and let you see the beginning photos, or the beginning footage of what this, where this collection started. So we can go back a year from now and look at this sparse wall, and then look where it's at down the road. So why did I want to tackle this line? As a toy collector, as a lover of all things 80s, I'm running out of stuff that I'm really passionate about as far as collecting. I've got the wrestling stuff that I want. I've completed a few other action figure lines. I'm satisfied with my Ghostbusters collection. The Chuck Norris line is complete. The Karate Kid line is complete. The Rambo line is slow to finish. The second and final series of figures are a little bit expensive, and so as I get them slowly. What else we got over there? A-Team. We've got an A-Team collection going, the 6-inch figures. And all I need from that line is four of the bad guys. So, I've got my Jason Voorhees collection. I've got the little TV guide, the side collection. So there's always these little side projects going on. But as far as like something to really wrap my passion around, there's nothing left. I tried starting a Nintendo collection, a Nintendo game collection, a video game collection, and I got up to about 425 NES games. And then that kind of died for me. Like I lost the will to do that. I'm not really on the lookout for Nintendo games these days. So the collection just sits there at like 425 games. So, I really was, I'm really trying to figure out what should I do next. I want to keep this thing going forever. I mean, I don't want my interest in this room to ever fade. And so I had to come up with something that I needed to keep going. He-Man was an option, but I've been there, done that. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I'm not all that passionate about. I'm sorry, Christian Hafer. Star Wars figures, a little bit before my time, a little bit before my interest in figures began. Transformers, no interest. Never had any interest in Transformers. So what's left, right? What's left but the greatest action figure toy line of all time. And yes, this is coming from an LJN guy. Of course, I'm partial, I'm loyal to my LJN figures, to my wrestling figures. But the G.I. Joe line, for me, is one of the most exciting and influential and important toy lines of my generation. Maybe some would even say, you know, the first real action figure line, Star Wars obviously included. Anyway, I knew this would be deep. I knew this would be expensive. I wanted the challenge, and so I'm beginning. And again, you are all coming along with me as I start from scratch. We're going to, like I said, we're going to start with the vehicles of 1982, and we already have a few of these over here. We're going to start with the figures of 1983. And so each episode, the next episode that I'm going to do with you, is actually going to be taking a look at what I have already. The second episode is not going to be the format of the show. The format of the show is really going to be finding these figures and collecting them in order and displaying them in order and coming up with ways to really turn this room into, or maximize the size of this room and get the most out of this room I can when it comes time to displaying these things. If you remember, if you watch some video, if you watch some room tours of mine, this whole area, this one whole maybe 12-foot section, so it goes to here, which you can't really see, and it goes to there, and the door is there. It's about 12 feet right here. This was all board games, right? So again, if you go back and you watch old collection videos, or old toy room videos, toy room tour, this was Board Game Alley, right? So this whole area was filled with board games. And in order to get the G.I. Joe collection started, I needed to make room. So I sacrificed Board Game Alley. The board games are no longer a part of this room. Did I get rid of them? Did I sell them? No, of course not. They are in a back room that we have so this basement was finished. This is my room. There's a side room, kind of a mechanical room. Sump pump is in there, and I put some bookshelves in. It's a very small space. It's unfinished. It's concrete, cinder blocks. But I moved the bookshelves in there, and I pretty much set up Board Game Alley in there, and I closed the door, and Board Game Alley is forgotten. It's no more. So that we could have a 12-foot section dedicated strictly to G.I. Joes. Now, I have no idea if I'll even be able to fit everything in this 12-foot section. When we start talking about the bigger play sets, when we start talking about the Technodrome, that's Turtles. Terradrome, Cobra's awesome round play set. When we start talking about the flag, right? The USS flag, the gigantic 6 or 7 foot aircraft carrier, the biggest toy in toy history. When we start talking about the shuttle playset, this thing is massive. I don't know what's going to happen with this room. I don't know where that stuff is going to go, but it's going to go in here somehow, and it's going to be on display. It's not going to be one of those things that I shove under a table or hide away in a corner. It is somehow going to be on display. Even if we have to run it right down the middle of the room, it's going to be on display. You guys are going to see it. My early plan for these figures is to set them up the way you see them now. I was able to get a pretty good start on this collection from a friend of mine, a local friend of mine, a person who's watched the channel, a person who sells at toy shows, a good, a good person, a good friend of mine, gave me a heck of a deal on my first batch of figures. And so I was able to pick up maybe 15 or 20 figures to start the collection. And they're from varying years, 82 to, or 83 to 89. Most were 100% complete. If they weren't, I'm going to piece them out and get them complete. They were all in great shape. If there was a loose waist, I learned how to fix it, and I went and bought a bunch of O-rings from Amazon, and I've been repairing G.I. Joes all over the place. And I was able to get a bunch of vehicles from him as well. So we've got a good start to the collection. We've got a nice little jump start. And on the next episode, I'm going to show you what I have already, and how we're going to get started with this collection. Obviously, you can see some other fun stuff up here. I don't know if this is going to stay here forever, but the idea, right, I've got these shelving brackets here. The idea is to put shelves up with a G.I. Joe size gap in between each one. I want to maximize as much space as I can. So these guys are about an inch away from hitting the top of that shelf. So they all fit in there nicely. Again, I want to maximize as much wall space as I can. So as we continue to add more figures, you know, this is all going to go, and we're going to line up the figures here as well. I'm trying to come up with a labeling system for the figures because I don't know these characters like the back of my hand. I don't know these characters like I do the LJNs. And so I want to put little name tags with these figures and the year that they were created, just so I can begin to learn these characters. So I came up, you know, the really early prototype, these little tags, these little name tags that stand in front of the figure. And those are probably not going to last. Those are probably going to morph into something else. But we're gonna come up with that together. I thought about this, the 3-tier shelving system, you know, where they're actually kitchen cupboard organizers. I had one down here that like a staircase of 3, and you can display figures on each level. I like that idea. It minimizes space, or it maximizes space, but I kind of want each figure to be showcased by itself. I don't want figures to be behind other figures. I want figures to be front and center the way they are here. So I'm going to go with this concept for now until I can't anymore. But I figure I've got 12 feet of wall space with shelving, again, that is about an inch taller than each figure. So I can fit, I don't know, maybe I can fit maybe 20 figures per shelf. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how this morphs. Vehicles, what am I going to do with vehicles? I have no idea what I'm going to do with vehicles. But I got some down here. You know, I've got a table underneath these shelves, and I've got some early vehicles setting up on this table. You'll see all this stuff on the next episode. So before I go, this ultimate guide to G.I. Joe was a Christmas present, a requested Christmas present, of course, as I tackle this adventure. And this is going to be pretty much my collecting Bible for the next couple of years as I tackle this project. This is an incredibly useful, valuable book to a collector. It basically covers the entire line from 1982 to 1994. Every figure, every accessory, every vehicle is in this book. And the best part of this book is it includes every single accessory that came with every single figure and every single vehicle. It talks about the value, it talks about the mint on card value, it talks about the loose value. And there's, of course, there's stories and you know, just fun information about the G.I. Joe line. So this is going to be something that I'm pretty much going to carry around with me whenever I go hunting for these figures and vehicles. And so this has already been helpful. The G.I. Joe, the Ultimate Guide to G.I. Joe, the 3rd edition, 82 to 94, written by Mark Bellomo, who's done some other pretty awesome toy books. So this is, like I said, this is going to be with me all the time. This is going to be my resource guide. This is how I'm going to complete this line. Right, so we're working out of this. This is our area. This is the bare bones. This is the beginning picture. This is the start of the G.I. Joe obsession. And you guys are coming along with me. So episode 1 in the books. Episode 2, like I said, we're going to take a look at what I've already got. And then going forward, you're just going to watch me build up this collection. And it's going to be a wild ride. It's going to be fun. And I want you people along with me because, you know, you're the greatest fans on YouTube. This is the greatest channel on YouTube. And we'll be back with episode 2 of Collecting is Half the Battle.